Deep Dive with David Stendahl, where we trade without ego, no emotion, no greed, and no opinion. Before we begin tonight's video blog, please read over our trading disclaimer and remember to trade smart and accept the reality that trading futures is risky. This presentation does not provide buy-sell recommendations, and our information is strictly provided for educational purposes only. As always, trade at your own risk and analysis. Hey there, it's David Stendahl with tonight's Deep Dive. It is August 23rd, 2018. I thought I'd take a look at the S&P 500, the ETF being SPY on the long side. This is going to be more of a cautionary tale and just kind of give you some longer term perspective on this. So anybody that's been trading knows that the trends are to the upside, the technicals are quite high. There's nothing on the horizon as far as being completely overbought or oversold, in this case overbought, but there's some things that are taking place here that I want you to at least be aware of. Just to complete things, you can see that just recently we had a profit taking just here today, and that's where I think that it's probably would behoove anybody to really take a serious look at your long positions on the S&P 500. And with today's profit alert, it's looking to, on the downside, to take some profits here. Let's take a look at the market and get an idea as to what we're really looking at. We've been flirting here with some resistance to the market. We broke above, stayed above, but now today's action had us fall a little bit below. It's not super strong, but this level here on an intraday basis or on a daily bar basis at 2862. But if we take a look at a weekly chart, you can see that there is major resistance to the market right now, and it's in a level that we're basically at right now. And this level right here that I'm pointing out is at 2884. So this threshold, both on the daily and the weekly, is a cautionary tale. What we want to see is for it to break above, and that would be fantastic if it's able to do that. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to have some difficulty with that. If we come over to the website, and if you were to come to our website, you come down to signals, down to market targets, and then pull up the S&P 500, you'll see that there is a bit of a resistance gap. So if we're not able to hold this at resistance, and in fact the market is able to really power through that, then there's really very little that's holding this up until we reach to these much higher levels. But as of right now, we're at this resistance level. We really want to really be careful here. The systems, just so that we understand where we are, on a daily bar basis, we've been long for a while, got a little bit of a profit, not a huge one, but we do have a trend-based system that is long the market. But we had a intraday basis 240-minute bar system that went short just yesterday, and so we're now hedged, and so we'll have to see how this kind of plays out here. So the fact that we're up against resistance and we've been there for the last 2-3 days or so, the systems are being a little cautious, and they are putting us in a hedged position. If the things should break above those thresholds, those resistance levels, then obviously the systems hopefully would react very quickly, and that this trend would power through and probably go through that resistance gap and start to head much further. But I want to show you kind of a unique way of looking at the power of the S&P 500. And when we've looked at this in the past, I find that markets that have been very strong and find themselves up against resistance, that they typically take a breather and fall off. And so that's why with the hedge position that I'm a little cautious here. And what I'm going to do to make this point is to look at the futures market madness for this month, August 2018. You'll get to this by going to performance, all the way to the bottom, futures market madness. And I'll just explain very briefly, since tomorrow is going to be the end of the series. Every month we will have a futures market madness. Obviously it relates to March Madness for basketball. And what we'll do is we'll take the major producers from the month before and the major losers, and what we'll do is we'll pit them against one another, where we'll have 4 different sections: the Midwest, the East, the West, and the South. And this month, S&P 500 came out of the Midwest section. It beat copper, and then it went up against wheat, Kansas City wheat. Then it came up against the winner of the West, which was in this case zinc. Kind of unusual market, but nonetheless, it went up against that. It beat zinc. On the right-hand side of the bracket, we had corn that made it all the way through, and this week we're looking at the finals. The finals will end on 8/24 this Friday, tomorrow. And so as it stands right now, the S&P is not up all that much for the week, but corn is down quite a bit. So there's a pretty good chance, unless something dramatically reverses tomorrow, we'll crown the S&P 500 the winner for this month's futures market madness. And what I've noticed before when I go through this, kind of a fun thing for me, but nonetheless, when I find that a market has done exceptionally well and has made itself through all of the different brackets through the entire month, beating winners and beating out other markets across the board, that it becomes a little tired at the end. So the winner typically goes into a bit of a reversal. So this is just kind of a unique way of looking at the markets, looking at those that have been able to do quite well, but are going to kind of stagger across the finish line. So both corn and the S&P 500, because they made it to the finals, we would expect some type of a reversal, but it's a much more pronounced here with the S&P 500 and the way that it was able to beat things across the board. So bear this in mind, that the fact that we're up against this resistance level, it's not super strong here, but it is very strong here with the weekly bars. And so I'll post the specifics to these numbers, but you want to make sure that with the systems, the way that they're trading long-term daily bars, if you will, we are long the market and have been for a little while. So we have a nice little open position profit. But the intraday systems are beginning to trigger. We have one now that has us hedged, and I like to see that when we're up against resistance. We can always react when necessary, but for right now, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with the hedge position, and we'll see how things kind of play out here with the resistance levels. The other thing I'm going to point out is we've added another section to our website just so that people can see it. I wasn't particularly satisfied with our webinar page that just simply dealt with the calendar base. You'd have to click on it and it didn't really give a good description. But if you wanted to, you could always come to resources, webinar calendar, or, and this is what we added new, if you come to the webinar page here, or excuse me, the membership page, come down to upcoming webinars, what we've done is we've created in a different area more of a listing. I've only added one of these, but you'll be able to see the date, the times, and easily be able to register for these things. But this is the key thing, is that this little I for information, if you pop that up, you'll be able to at least get a little more information about what the webinar is about. So I'll be doing a webinar next week. It'll be on the 29th, and it's going to be talking about seasonal charts. I've done this one before, but it's going to be updated a little bit with some more information. And what will happen is I'm going to start to add more and more of these over time. And so if you're looking for just an education webinar that goes into a little more detail than we can ever go into either in my deep dives or in my Signal Insight videos, this is one where we can go into a lot more information, spend a whole hour on a topic, and put yourself in a position where you can ask questions. They're free, and I just want to make sure that people know how to use some of the content that's actually up on our website. So if you're looking for something to do next Wednesday at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, just simply come to membership, upcoming webinars, and you'll get this listing. And the listing is just a little bit different from the calendar that we have up there as well. Either one will suffice to sign up, but at least this one will go into a little more description as to what the webinar is going to be about. So with that, be cautious with your S&P, watch these resistance levels. The systems are hedged, and I hope to see you attend one of our workshops, one of our webinars next week. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.